Welcome back to the 1090 podcast. Today's episode is sponsored by the song by Biggie Smalls. I think it's called, is it Notorious? The one that goes Biggie, Biggie, Biggie.
Can't you see?
Sometimes your words just flip
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
I
I don't remember the name of the song. Should have been more
Just
prepared.
Biggie in general.
But I was driving home from St. George 2 days ago, and I was getting close to Fillmore, which is where the accident happened. And I love the drive now. I used to hate it. I love it now. It's very therapeutic. And so I'm thinking about my family and like what it was like for them in their last moments, and it's getting pretty dark. And when I do this drive, I listen to music and I just put it on shuffle. Like that's just what I do. And so my music's on shuffle, and I'm getting close to Fillmore. And the song, this Biggie Smalls song, comes on. I want to say it's called Notorious. I could be wrong. But it's the one that goes Biggie, Biggie, Biggie. And the whole reason I bring this up is me and Riggins love that song because we changed the words from Biggie, Biggie, Biggie to Riggy, Riggy, Riggy. And Riggs thought the whole song was for him. And it's a very inappropriate song, which is funny. But like he thought the whole song was for him. And like it was like a really dark moment, and then bang, like it just made me smile.
Right.
And I think there was something to it. It just made me feel good. But Riggins, I love you. I miss you every day. It was just a cool moment.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life's 10% what happens to you and 90% what you're going to do about it.
Welcome back to the 1090 podcast. I'm Sam Josie here with Mason Sawyer today.
And we got Preston Schooley.
Hello.
Nice, Preston. Excited to have you with us today. This is
happy
my
to be
first
here.
time meeting you.
Yep.
Mason's got some history with you.
Yeah, Preston's done a lot of my tattoos. All my big ones. The Buffalo, the one for race, the Iron Man. What else have you done? Was that it? Oh, this Metallica one.
Yep.
Oh, the Tangled
Yeah,
one.
that's progress right there.
Oh my gosh. Sam, did I tell you so I'm driving back. This is like a couple months ago.
Okay.
I'm driving back from St. George again. Because Preston, we have a full day appointment for this Tangled tattoo that I'm getting for Frankie.
Sure.
Because Frankie's favorite movie was Tangled and her favorite princess was Rapunzel.
Right.
And Courtney always thought that when Rapunzel cut her hair and it went short and black, like we thought, oh, that's my phone. We thought she looked a lot like Frankie. Anyway, so this movie has a lot to do with Frankie. So anyway, this is a full day appointment, 8-hour tattoo. I wake up early morning, St. George. I start driving back. So I haven't eaten anything. So I stop at this gas station, and my go-to stop at Maverick is I get the bag of pickles, like the pickle slices.
Okay.
You guys with me on that?
Yep.
They're good. I get the dill pickle slices. And then I get like those protein packs, like the cheese and, and the almonds.
Yeah.
So I pick up my stuff, hit the road because I'm kind of in a hurry. And I open up the protein pack and the cheese is moldy. It's terrible.
Oh no.
Can't
Is
eat
any of that on you for not looking? Like,
Yeah.
isn't the wrapper clear? Like you can see the
can't-
cheese.
Not in the moment.
Okay.
But later I came to that conclusion.
Okay.
This is probably half my fault here.
Okay.
At least. And then it gets worse. The pickles were not the crisp, crunchy dill.
This was a bad
They didn't
stop.
snap. They were mushy.
Yeah, this is not good.
And I had a Red Bull too. So all I had was a Red Bull. I didn't eat anything. And I was overconfident because I probably had, I don't know, 18 tattoos at this point. I'm good. So, dude, we start this tattoo. Preston's going to town. And Preston, I don't know what you even call it, but you did it, and then you basically go back over it
Yes.
with the white or
Yes.
something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's like a term for that, but like he's double dipping on this tat, dude. And like it's starting to hurt. I think it's around hour 7. Would it
Yeah, probably
6 and a
right around.
half?
Yeah.
We're getting it's. I've been here for a while on this table.
Okay.
No food, and I'm playing this game on my phone. Preston's just inking me up, and it hits me out of nowhere. Like I'm gonna pass, and I'm like Preston, and he like looks up. He's like, and he could tell like I didn't look good. I'm like white in the face. He's like, oh, he's like, you didn't eat anything. I'm like, no, man, I'm sorry. He's like, you idiot. So he goes and looks for food. It's a tattoo shop. No one, like, there's not food. There's not like a Subway footlong hanging around. So Preston goes and looks for what he's got. And I'm an idiot. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up. So I stand up to try to get to the bathroom. And I pass out, dude. I fall Well, I make it a few feet, almost to the front door. I lay down, I pass out, and then I come to. I don't think I was out for very long. I come to. No one knows I'm passed out. Because there's probably like 4 or 5 other people. Yeah. No one knows. I'm just on the ground. And Preston comes out with like this cup of carrots. He's like, and I raise my hand. I'm like, Preston, over here. Like man down, like on a battlefield, like Preston.
You're looking for me right here.
So I like get up. He walks me back to the table, and I think he got me carrots and like a Gatorade.
Yeah,
brought me back to life. We finished the tattoo, but
it was wild,
dude. You got to be prepared going into the
night. Yeah, you never told me that.
You must eat food.
I passed out, dude.
Is that the first time you've passed out?
Yeah,
like legit passed out. I
almost passed out on my first one.
Okay,
but yeah.
That's great. I would have loved to have seen it.
Preston, what's your Instagram?
Pdudes art _art _tattoos.
Yeah, this guy's good. Check him out. He's got unbelievable stuff.
Thank you.
Preston, you have any give us what's the worst tattoo you've ever done? Or do you have like a funny tattoo experience gone wrong type of thing?
I mean, there's always funny things that happen, or you mess up or whatever, and you just got to kind of roll with it, not let people know you messed up. And if it's fixable, you just invite them back, be like, hey, I want to touch this up, whatever. But
you never spelled anything wrong though, or
I want to say I did, but it wasn't on me, it was on the client. The client gave me the wrong spelling.
That's something I would do.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm
Are you sure you want this spelled this way? Like, yeah, I like that word a lot.
Yeah, and I always let them read it over so that they know, like, yep, this is what they're asking for. And if they get it wrong, then that's not on me anymore. I had a friend of mine, we put the wrong, would that be the horoscope? Whatever someone's birth month is. Yeah. We put the wrong birth month.
Zodiac or
Zodiac. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. We put the wrong Zodiac on him for his daughter. No joke, dude. No joke. And it worked out with the tattoo where he didn't have to explain it. But I mean, I know he knows, his wife certainly
but that
knows.
one's not necessarily on you.
No, he messed it up. He gave me the month, but then he told me what it was. I never researched it. So that part is on me. I should have researched it, but I didn't. We both get a laugh about it now. So
you still get nervous when you do it, or
I think I get a little more nervous when it's a new client. I don't know how their skin's going to react. I don't know how they're going to react. It makes you a little nervous, and it's hard to get past that sometimes. Like you really, it's not until you get past like hour one.
So you're not like, I'm the man, I'm good, this is going to be good every time.
Never.
You're not.
No.
Are there tattoo artists like that, you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of confident tattoo artists that I just don't think this is something you should ever be confident with. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how this is going to respond. Yeah. You don't know how they're going to respond. You don't know how the skin's going to respond. There's just so much to it that you wouldn't totally understand. And I think if you're going into it acting like you're going to knock it out of the park, you're probably going to mess something up.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. Maybe that's just an ego thing.
I'm with you. I think I goes for a lot of things, not just tattooing.
Yeah. I try
if you had to give advice to someone, maybe their first tattoo, or they just want a good tattoo, like what would you tell them?
Searching for an artist, you kind of want to look, what style you're going to want. Find somebody that you know is a friend that's got tattoos. If they're already in it, and they may have bad tattoos, and they may still tell you, go see my artist. He's great, even though he's not.
Yeah.
But I mean, you got the internet. There are so many outlets for you to go research, and even just hearing people talk about it, like, oh, my artist is great. They were respectful. They made me feel comfortable. Like those are huge. I think if you've got an artist that can do that, you're going to have a good piece of art.
Yeah. I think maybe just like most things, I think that relationship is key.
Huge. It's
huge.
I
tell my buddies, like, and I think I was talking to you about this when you were tattooing me last time. Like what I do for you is like, Preston, all I told you was I want a tangled tattoo. and I want it big. And that's basically all I told you. Because I think if you let the tattoo artist kind of pick where they want to put it, how big they want to make it, I think you're going to get the best tattoo possible. I think
Absolutely.
if you try to put the artist in a box and you're really like, hey, I want it right here, no matter what. And the tattoo artist, well, the angle's not great. It might, when you bend your knee, it's going to do this. And you don't listen to them, I think it's going to go bad on you. I think you give the artist as much freedom as you can.
100%.
And I think you're going to get the best tattoo.
Absolutely. And I feel like I didn't know that when I first started getting tattooed.
Yeah.
Because I dabbled in drawing and I would go show them a sketch. Like, that's kind of what I'm thinking. And they would do something similar to that. And those are the tattoos I hate the most now.
Yeah.
They don't look good. There's no flow to them. But I didn't know that. And the artist didn't tell me. So that's on them too.
Yeah.
But when somebody comes in and, gives me an idea and says, run with it, do whatever you want,
isn't that?
you get so much more out of the tattoo.
Because
this is what we're trained for.
Because you sent me back your little sketch of the Tangled one and you added like the little lizard. Like you had all this detail, the tower. It was so cool. So that'd be my advice. Sam, you're not a big tattoo guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
If you had to get a tattoo, what would you get and where would you get it?
Probably something Tom Brady related.
I knew that's where you were going with this. Would you just get it on your
goat,
chest
man.
or like on your back? Like Tom Brady with all his rings on his hand on your back.
I'd just get him like just a Clack Tom in a suit, just like smiling. Just like just Tom looking great.
Tom Brady.
That's good though.
I don't know where I'd get it. I don't know. Because sometimes you see people with like tattoos and like more than anything, like not like, oh, why would you get that? But it's more of like, why would you put a tattoo there?
Yeah.
And then you think like, am I going to want it there and when I'm 80? And then I just think, so like I more so think of like where I would get it rather than like what I'd get, I think.
You think about when you're 80.
I think you have to.
See,
that's where you and I differ. Big time. Again, we're going to start notching our differences. And then our last episode, we're like, here is 2,000 things we found over the course of this podcast that we disagree on.
All right, let's get into it with Preston. Preston, I love your story. When you were tattooing me, we were just chatting. When you're doing a tattoo, do you like it chatty or do you like headphones in, quiet, let you do your thing, or do you not care?
I don't totally care. I guess it depends. Sometimes you get a client that likes to be really, really chatty, and I feel like they're not chatting about anything that's important.
They're just nervous, maybe.
Yeah, and they just want to talk. It's almost like the silence is bothering them, and they just have to keep talking. And
it's kind of like,
and it's like,
you watch Seinfeld at all?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When they're talking about getting a massage, and Jerry's like, I talk to them because I feel bad for them. I do it. I can't even enjoy it. And I think about that with tattoo artists. Like, oh man.
No, I think it's good to talk. I think that actually helps the client because they're taking their mind off of what's going on because it can be brutal after 7.5 hours, as you know. No.
Dude, I can't.
I can't believe you passed out.
Yeah. Dude, there's something about passing out. It wakes you up though.
Yeah.
Like it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Preston, let's talk about you're married, have a kid.
Yep.
You're an electrician.
Okay.
I know we skipped a lot of your life. But
No, it's okay.
Let's kind of start around there.
No, let's do that. All right. So I met my wife right out of high school. This is my first wife. We started dating 18. She was 16. We dated. And then when I was 26 is when we got pregnant. Actually, 25. Sorry. We had my daughter. And like the Christmas before we had my daughter, which was only a week, I bought a paint set. And it was a Bob Ross paint set. And I decided I was going to be home a lot more. So I needed to occupy my time with something. And that was it. So I followed along with Bob Ross, painted my first landscape, and I absolutely loved it. I was hooked that day.
This would be our little secret.
Yeah, dude.
This little bush right here.
Who doesn't love watching clouds?
Bob Ross do this thing?
Dude, he's soothing.
Yeah.
He's so meditative in his own way. It's unreal.
Yeah.
So I let that take over my life in a lot of ways. When my daughter was awake, I was always up there was with my family. But the moment she went to bed, my hours were spent painting. And I'm talking like I was up until, sometimes 1 o'clock in the morning.
Hold on. So like, what's your interest level in art before this Bob Ross purchase? Like,
I mean, I
did
loved
you
art.
like, were you somewhat good at it?
Oh, I mean, I could draw, but it was never anything great. To me, I know everyone that doesn't draw would be like, "Oh yeah, you're pretty good." To me, I look at it and go, "That's still pretty awful, though. Like it still looks like a child drew it or whatever." I never really was able to put the time in that I wanted to get good.
If someone said you're going to be a tattoo artist one day, you would have been like, probably not. Or...
Yes, 100%. No, that's not in my scope of things. So I start painting, and it's taking up all my time. And I decided I'm going to start trying to paint portraiture, see if I could figure that out. My first portraits are awful. But
what are you doing portraits of?
I did Elvis for my mom, and I did Marilyn Monroe for my dad.
Do you still have them?
They hang in my parents' office right now.
Awesome.
They
That's
love
awesome.
those paintings. I think they're terrible, but
Well, probably, but there's beauty in that.
Yeah, man.
No, I think there is. Like, there's beauty in, because if you go back to our first episodes, it's probably dog shit. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think there's beauty in like the growth of it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So-
No, 100%. I feel like as I started to progress and started to get better, and we're talking, this is like 2010-ish, near the end of the year, I'm starting to take leaps. I'm starting to make,
You're starting to get good.
yeah, I'm starting to make big jumps. And it's because I'm putting every time. There's even times I was waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning after I'd get 4 hours of sleep, and I would wake up for an hour just to get a little more painting in before I had to go off and be an electrician for the day. I feel like that started to drive a wedge between me and my wife, and it kept getting further and further apart. And I feel like the more we went, the more distant we became, the more out of love it seemed that we were. We just kind of felt like roommates at this point. I also stopped drinking as much, and I feel like her and I got along because we partied very well together. And once that started to die off, that was like,
You think the art helped with the drinking or
maybe in a way, yeah, because I was focused on
or
something.
just getting older, having a kid?
Yeah, and it was all of it. It was I just was done partying, I was done. I was still doing it, but it was more so on the weekends. I wasn't drinking so much during the week because we partied, even when it was just the two of us, we were
Right.
partying. And I feel like that was our relationship right out of the gates. We were kids when we met, and that's just what we did. We wanted to party all the time. So as that started to dwindle, I feel like that's the start of our relationship falling apart. So my daughter is about 4 now, and I'm working a job at the airport, and I hate everything about it. The politics of it. I've been there for a year and a half. I want off the airport. I just don't even want to. I hate my job at this point. And I have this conversation with my ex-wife, and I'm just like, I don't want to do this forever. I would like to paint. I want to be an artist, whatever that takes, and no support. She's like, what am I going to do? Because she's a stay-at-home mom. She's like, there's no way. So we decide, let's move. Let's go get another house, which we did. We moved up to West Jordan. We lived there for about 6 months. And during all this time, I've got this buddy, Brad, that he's been this like rock in my life. He was the first person I called in the morning when I was on my way to work. We talked art hours long. We would just talk about art, where we wanted to take art, what we wanted to do with it. And I fell in love with this guy. He was just everything to me when it came to art, because we both had this love for art. And he divorced his wife. And the day later, my wife divorced me. And I had no idea. No red flags. Nothing was going on. I just kind of thought, well, what the fuck? Like, this is awful, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Did you see the divorce coming?
no.
That caught you
Blindsided.
off?
This wasn't like hey, maybe we should look into this. It was like you wake up and it's, here you go.
Yes,
See you later.
Exactly. It was a very abrupt. And I mean, I pushed her in the sense that I knew something was wrong that day. And so I just kept prying it. I kept going, what is wrong? What is wrong? And she finally just flat out told me, I don't love you anymore. And it was like, oh, okay.
Dude.
And it sucks. So
hold on. Because like I lost my wife, but like not like that. Like losing a spouse to death is like I think the only thing that might be worse is losing a kid, but like if Courtney came up to me like I don't love you anymore, that's like a different kind of like what was that like? That just like, or were you kind of like, because it wasn't a great relationship, it sounds like, so maybe it didn't like, I don't know, like that would be rough, dude.
I was devastated. I'm not gonna lie, I was absolutely devastated. In hindsight, I look at it now and I go, I feel like I knew we were no longer in love, but that didn't change the heartbreak.
Right.
Like your heart hurt. It actually hurt, like that. Yep. Hearing heartache, people say I had heartache, like it literally hurt. It really hurts. And it's like, it's crazy how it feels like it's not even beating correctly anymore. It just feels tight in your chest and there's pressure. Yeah. I felt that. I think a lot of that heartbreak was losing her side of the family. I love her side of the family. We were all so close that my parents still hang out with her side of the family. They still go camping together because that's how tight the two families were. And I knew I was losing that. I knew that I couldn't just call my mom or my stepmom, or my God, what's it called? Mother-in-law. Yeah. I couldn't call my mother-in-law whenever I wanted and just go over there and go see her. I couldn't go see my brother-in-laws.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was just as hard as losing.
And how long were you guys married?
We were together 12 years, married 7. So, it was a long time, but we were kids, man. And I just don't think people always make it. When they meet.
So she tells you I want a divorce. How did you manage that pain, that feeling? Did you communicate it with a friend? Did you tell anyone? Did you shut down? Where'd you go from that moment?
I definitely shut down. The hard part was my friend was my rock in all of this, and I couldn't confide in him anymore. He was he disappeared. So back to the day that she said she wanted a divorce, my friend was also a day before was getting a divorce. So come live with me, man. Come stay on my couch until you figure it out. He came, he stayed for about a week. And in that week, I didn't see him much. He was just gone and I couldn't get a hold of him. And I didn't really know what the hell was going on. And it was like, well, come on, man. I need you right now, dude. Where are you? And so I feel like that was the first point when I started to realize that he wasn't there for me like I thought he was. And I had to live with my wife for 2 weeks while she found a home. I went and sat on the floor. I laid on the floor. I made a little makeshift mattress and slept on the floor. Dude. It was hard, man. But I guess in a lot of ways, I can be a pushover when it's a situation like that. I want to make somebody else comfortable, and maybe I should be a little more selfish when it comes to that type of stuff, especially in a situation like that. I should have told her to get the hell out. You want to leave, then go ahead.
But maybe there's part of you that's still care. I don't know. Maybe there's a part of it.
There was. I thought that we were going to get back together.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
I 100% thought I could talk her back into getting back with me. So we'll fast forward about a month. In all of this, my friend and I we're starting art shows here in Salt Lake City. His brother does them down in Vegas, so we're starting him in Salt Lake, and we've been doing a lot of this legwork. We've been getting all these artists together. We're painting live in front of a bar, and it's fun as hell. His brother asked me to bring him back to Salt Lake.
That's ballsy,
dude. It's fun, man. It's cool when you get to paint live in front of somebody and they get to see your process. So about a week before the show, I get a call from one of my wife's friends, and she says, your wife's been cheating on you with your friend. This is what's been going on behind your back. She's like, I'm really sorry to tell you.
The one you're doing the art show with.
Yes.
Ooh.
So I'm just like, you got to be kidding me, man. So, of course, I get on the phone and I light him up. I'm pissed. I don't even know what I said. I was just screaming.
You're seeing red.
Oh, red. So this whole conversation
started before.
Yes.
Before she asked for a divorce.
Yeah. Was this when he came over and was chilling on your couch?
Yes.
That's when it started.
Well, no. This was going on currently while these guys were together. That was.
Hold on. That's
such a blow.
That's me and you, dude.
Hey, I'll be over for the podcast. Hey, I'm going to be an hour late. I got to stop at your house.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
It's awful, man. And it hurts that hurt so bad. It's like I lost a family, I lost a friend, I lost a wife. All while I'm trying to take care of my kid in the middle of all of this. And it's just like, my brain, I can't focus on anything. I stopped sleeping entirely. I couldn't even do anything. It was just, so then out of all things, we do this art show and they show up together in my face. I was like, that was the rudest thing. Like, and that's her mentality.
What did you do?
I let it go. I painted, and my whole art piece that I completely shifted gears on what I was going to paint.
You just draw a picture of you punching them in the
Seriously, man. No.
Oh my god.
Did they stay together?
They actually ended up getting married for a couple years. So they did stick it out for a while.
So what?
It was toxic to begin with. You know, you can't build a relationship on lies. It just doesn't work. And I think that was just the excitement of it was what got them together. But then once it was okay, I just feel like they kind of fell apart, and it only lasted like 2 years for them.
When people reach out to our 1090 page for help or guide, like some of these people are going through like some really not good stuff. Yeah. And one thing that I've noticed that I think helps them is I tell them like, hey, what's happening to you is going to happen to someone else, or it probably already has.
Yeah.
You're not the first one. And one thing I try to tell them is like, if you handle this the right way, you're going to be able to help like a different version of you going through something similar. Like you can help them. As bad as your situation is, you're going to be able to help someone because they're going to be you in a couple years or tomorrow or whenever that other shoe's going to drop. And so like that's brutal. There's other people like you though. Like this stuff happens.
Absolutely.
What advice, like what did you do to handle was it just the art? Was that you just lost yourself in the art? Like give us some advice what not to do, maybe some things you regret and some, like what are you going to tell people? How do we help people like you?
You know, I mean, everyone's going to do something their own way. They have to figure it out. They have to go through the shitstorm before it clears up. That's just going to be the way it is. And the first month I was drinking heavily. Like I don't even remember a lot of the month because I was drinking so much. And I went to breakfast with my mom. And
how old's the kid at this point?
My daughter is, she was 4.
Oh.
Maybe she could have been 5. Kind of hard to remember.
Yeah.
Let's see, that would have been.
Yeah,
she was 4, 2014.
Yeah.
So, I was drinking a ton and not knowing what was going on. It just the whole month was such a blur. And my mom, I went to breakfast with her, and she was like, "You look gross. You look sick. Your eyes are yellow. Do you even like know what day it is? Like what And
tough love.
Yeah, dude. And it kind of really made me understand that. I mean, I did just come off a bender that morning. Like it was more than a 24-hour bender. But not that's besides the story or besides the point. So I started to realize I needed to slow it down. I needed to focus on myself. And so that was probably like the next 4 to 5 months. I didn't drink much. I didn't see any of my friends. I sat on my kitchen room table and drew, or I was painting, whatever it was. I was spray painting. I had a mural going in my house. I had all these projects going on at once. I wasn't sleeping. So it was like,
had you quit being an electrician at this point?
No.
Okay.
And that was really tough because I wasn't sleeping. So I was like getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning to be to a job at 7, working until 3, picking up my daughter, having her for a few hours before her mom got off work. And that was my routine. And once I got home, paint. I
want to talk about the alcohol a little more just because I don't think it's talked about enough.
Yeah.
We just kind of brush over it. This might sound like a really simple question, but like, why did you drink?
I wanted to forget.
Yeah.
No, man, you want to just suppress it.
Pressing it. Alcohol's not good, but it works.
It does.
It will. It's there for you.
No, 100%.
It is. Like, I don't want, like, and reality is just, it sucks so bad sometimes. Like, get me out of here.
Absolutely.
And alcohol will do it. Obviously, drinking your problems away is not good. And I don't know. I just want to talk about that more because people struggle with the alcoholism a lot.
Yeah.
And it is like a quick fix in the moment, but it like we use the buffalo and cow metaphor a lot. It is like if that's how you handle your issues, I do think that's a form of being like a cow. You're kind of running from that reality. Yeah, that's still something I'm working with. Like, and I feel hypocritical sometimes because I tell people about the buffalo and the cow analogy, but in many ways, I'm still a cow too. Like, I have days where I'm not dealing with this today.
Yeah.
And it's just hard, man, because reality hurts and alcohol makes it not hurt.
100%, man. It really does. You get to suppress your feelings, your emotions down below. You don't have to think about them in that moment.
It boils up later, though.
Oh, 100%. Right? And it explodes when it happens.
It does. And then oh, man, it's not
good. It comes out in rage, or it comes out in just bawling for 4 hours, where it's just, you can't, nothing helps. So what do? You take back some more alcohol, you drink it down, and I suppress it again.
I got into a dangerous phase a little bit where it was kind of like the only time I could let loose and cry is if I did drink.
Oh, okay.
To kind of take that manager guy and take him out, you know, and then like the emotions, which I don't think was good either.
No.
Because it was almost like I haven't cried. I don't want to cry. So I drink and then I would cry. I had like a weird, it's just not good, man. It's not a good coping mechanism.
No, it's not.
For sure.
And I think it's so readily accessible, and that's a problem.
And it's like, why is it like... Sorry, we might be going in a rabbit hole here.
No, you're good.
But like the smoking and that stuff, like whether it's marijuana, cigarettes, whatever, frowned upon. But every movie, every commercial, alcohol, like what? It's way worse, in my opinion, anyway.
I think it's way more of a drug than marijuana will ever be.
So weird.
Highly more addictive, and the problems that come from it, what it does to your body, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. You know, that's something that should be done moderately. If you're going to be drinking alcohol, it should be done moderately.
Right.
You're not doing it to black out. You shouldn't be doing it to, just cope through the day. I mean, a drink is nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice. Even if it's just a tiny little buzz you're getting, I don't see anything wrong with that. It's when it exceeds that and you can't stop. Yeah. And I still mess up from time to time where I overdo it because I'm having a good time. Friends are around and it's like you just start throwing them back, and before you know it.
Yeah. So you're drinking a little bit.
Yeah.
You're still working as electrician.
Yes.
And okay, let's get back to the story.
I'm noticing my job is getting harder and harder. I don't want to do it. I'm just unhappy as ever. And about 5 months after the divorce, my buddy Kalen, he's going through the same thing. He wasn't married, but he's going through a very similar, breakup, and he's sad. And he just asks, he's like, "Can I come move in?" Hell yes, you can.
That's
Hell yes,
awesome.
without a doubt. Go ahead, man. Whenever you're ready, I got a room for you in the basement. So he moves in. He's also an artist, but he's upcoming. He's just learning. And that's all we did. So I started drinking again once he moved back in. I wasn't sleeping, so we would just stay up all night. He was already working. He'd work nights, so he'd be up the majority of the night anyways. So we would just sit there and draw all night long. He got it in my head. You need to be a tattoo artist. You should really try.
He was the first one.
He was the first one. So
and when he said that, were you like...
Totally. I had already tried kind of like on the side, and I didn't like it. I was like, this isn't all that fun. And it's because it's hard. It's not easy to do, especially when you don't know what you're doing. So I take his advice. I buy a little cheap set off of Amazon, ship it to my house, and tattooed my leg in my kitchen.
Yes.
No joke, man.
What'd you do?
Marilyn Monroe.
You did that?
Yeah, dude.
That was one of your first tattoos.
First tattoo, man.
That is good. You see it that day?
Great.
Yeah, it's funny, man. So I'm
upside down and everything.
Yep.
Dude, I think
That's funny.
I think you have the best job.
It's pretty amazing.
Like if reincarnation's a thing and I can come back, I want to be a tattoo artist.
Dude,
I do. I want to put the tunes in and just do cool. Are you kidding me, Marilyn Monroe? He did that upside down on his thigh.
No, I fell in love with it at that point. And it was like, I knew that I was putting everything I had into art. Why not find this route that is going to make me money to where I can get to my end goal? And so that very first art show I was talking about, my mentor was there and I got to paint with him. I wasn't, obviously I'd never even considered tattooing at that point, but now that it was in my head, I went and got myself an apprenticeship with him, and he took me on. I had some pretty strict guidelines. My daughter's time was my daughter's time. If I had her, I wasn't coming in. That was just the way it was going to be. And he agreed to that. And he taught me, he put a machine in my hand, and I started to excel with tattooing. I tattooed LeBron James on Kalen's leg.
Sick tattoo,
and it
though.
ended up going viral.
It did.
And that helped me a lot. And he told me he was going to make it go viral.
It's a Chicago Bull, Sam. It's the Chicago Bull logo.
Okay.
And the bull's puffing smoke out of his nostril, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah, and that wasn't me, though.
Oh,
the bull was one of our other artists.
You just did the LeBron
Just
face.
did the LeBron.
And then the puff of smoke turns into LeBron James' face crying. Like just crying. It was pretty good.
So he got the LeBron because they had just lost the championship, and he wanted to make fun of that.
Right.
So it was perfect timing. And he told me, he's like, I'm going to make this thing go viral. And I'm tattooing it. And I'm laughing, going, this is the dumbest tattoo. Like, why are you getting this? This makes no sense to me. And the very next day I was working, and these 3 kids had come into the shop and were like, we just heard about this LeBron tattoo. It's being talked about on ESPN in Texas. And I was like, why the hell is Texas talking? This makes no sense. Why are they talking about this? And by the end of the day, I was being interviewed by ESPN, CNN.
No way. I didn't know
that.
that.
And it was like, I was getting bombarded with emails, and it was like
cool.
that. It was that moment. I was 3 months booked. I went from 2 weeks to 3 months.
How early in that? How early in your tattoo career did that LeBron James tattoo happen?
Let's see. I started tattooing at the end of 2015. So this would have been summer of 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, I think it was 2016. I was a little over half a year through my career when I did that. And it, sometimes it just takes one good tattoo and you're on the map. People hear about it. And
so I assume at this point you're full-time tattoos.
yes.
When did you decide, like, I'm done, electrician? I'm here.
Good question. Like, was that like made you?
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. So I worked for my dad, and I cannot stress what an amazing company they were.
I'm a man too, Pop.
Yeah.
You're a moron. You ever seen Wedding Singer? I'm a man too, Pop. The best man, the better man.
Self-taught. That just goes on.
Self-taught, not one less than thank you very much, Pop.
Best guitar player in the world.
God, dude, that is too good.
Oh, Steve Buscemi. All right,
so
sorry.
funny,
Go
man.
ahead,
No,
dude.
you're
Go
good,
ahead.
dude. So I'm leaving this company that's got great benefits. I'm a journeyman. I am on my way to mastering, and I have a company being handed to me. I got to buy it, but I have a company that's successful that
You didn't tell me this part when you were
So
tattooing.
yeah, I know.
I
always
this.
yeah.
Or
So
maybe I passed out and I didn't.
no, I don't
You
always
just need to play the cards right. You're set up.
Yeah.
I feel like I was held to a higher standard with him.
Sure.
I'm his kid. He wants me to do good. So it was like, I worked really hard to get there. And suddenly I didn't love it. Suddenly I didn't like it anymore. I didn't want to be a part of this anymore. And it was just like, A, how do I do this on my own? And B, how do I break the news to my dad? How do I tell my dad this thing he's built up for his entire family?
Yeah.
And it's just like, I was heartbroken for him.
Good for you, though.
I think he knew it was coming because I started investing myself in art so much. It's all I talked about. And these guys have a lot of my paintings. I just give them to them because it's like, oh yeah, here you go. I painted this for you. So I gave him a whole year. I I don't know of anybody that really quits in a year, but I gave him a year to prepare.
Here's my 1 year
Yep,
notice.
1 year notice. And I just had to sit down and talk with him and say, I'm not happy. I need to find something else. And he was so supportive. And I mean, they still joke about it. Even whenever I go back to the shop, all the guys will come up and be like, hey man, you tattooing not working out? You ready to come back as an electrician? And it's like, no, we're doing good. But
you are crushing it, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. I love my job.
I don't want to put Ryan on the spot or put words in Ryan's mouth, but we were talking about you the other day, and Ryan knows the tattoo world a lot better than I do because his wife's in it. But we were talking like we think you're top 5, 10 in the state of Utah.
Dude, that's an incredible thing to hear.
It's just me and Ryan. It's not like we're experts. So
no, but that's still
like
if that's one person's opinion, that's
dude,
huge to me.
I don't think it's just me and Ryan. You're the real deal. Dude, I love getting tattooed by you because remember that Iron Man? I fell asleep for like 25. I was just like, Preston's got me. He's good. Yep. It's nice, dude.
What's the, you don't have to go into like detail, but like, what's like the most you've been able to charge on one tattoo?
One tattoo?
From like, all right, there's 10 sessions, 4 hours, whatever it is, the whole from start to finish.
Man, I don't even know how to put that together. I bet if we were talking, let's see. I just finished.
I like this question.
I finished a sleeve recently. It was a black gray sleeve. We did 5 sessions in total, and they were all day appointments. So $5,000.
Nice.
That was what that sleeve cost.
You want to be a tattoo artist now, Sam?
Honestly, like I love it, but it's so ridiculous that we get to charge what we do.
No, it's not.
I think it is. I know it's cool. People get to wear this art out of their house, which is, it's not the same as putting art on the wall.
Yeah.
People don't get to see it as much. You know what I mean? It's for you, but when you have art on your skin, you got to go show the world this thing you're carrying around, and it's a piece of art by some artist that you've loved or whatever the reason is. Like you get to display that, and so I understand why people spend the money on it. It's in ways a vanity thing, and they feel better. It makes them feel better in their own skin. Right. It doesn't even make sense, but I went through it myself. I got covered pretty quickly.
I think you guys deserve every penny.
Well, I did. I appreciate it. I did.
But anyway, I just wanted to make
crazy.
it known. I wanted to give you, like, you're legit. So you're the guys at your dad's old work, they give you a hard time. Like, it's not working out. You come back and you're like, no, it's actually going pretty good.
Yep.
So being in the tattoo world, are you familiar with tattoo removal stuff?
Vaguely. Yeah, vaguely.
Are they legit? Do you know? Like, if you were to get one of those removed, does it look 100% normal skin, or is it like there's a shadow?
No. So there's a lot of things that happen in the process of laser. One, they're zapping the skin where the ink is holding, like your cells are holding the ink in place, and it's breaking it apart so your body can get rid of it. So one, you're getting new scar tissue on top of already scar tissue. So like a tattoo is scar tissue. No matter how you look at it, you've damaged the skin. Sure. And now you're damaging it again by burning it, and you can get some pretty hard scar tissue. That it's harder to tattoo. It's tougher.
Sam, you haven't even got a tattoo yet.
Removal. That's what my question was leading to. Is do you ever have someone that like you're tattooing like, now if I don't like this in like 5 years, can I get this taken off? And you're thinking like, you know what? Maybe we should reschedule this appointment for another 5 years.
No, I've never had anyone say that. I feel like if somebody were to say that, I'd be like, yeah, maybe you might want to reconsider this. If you're already doubting that you're going to like this in 5 years, you might want to reconsider it.
So I've got a list of questions in my head that pile up. Like, and Dave, bring me back if we're going off topic here.
I got a good quote that will bring us back.
Okay, so you're successful, like you're paying bills with your new career.
Yes,
things are going well. Has your ex-wife seen this? Like, hey, you know what? I might have.
Sam likes a good revenge story.
Hey, you know what? I was just teasing. I didn't want a divorce.
No, I honestly don't know. She is a very hard-headed person, and I think that if it did cross her mind that she messed up and that she lost out on something that could have been good for her, she would never admit it.
Okay.
That's just not her personality, and that's okay. I honestly don't even fault her anymore. I'm not mad at her anymore. We have to
have a semi-civil at least somewhat for the kid's sake.
We co-parent very, very well. We both respect each other. You know, whenever monies need to be, you know, go back and forth by something we're doing, we just do it. There's no questions asked.
Because some of those divorces, like they're just talking shit on the other parent.
Yeah,
all the
you
time. It's
know,
like, this
as
is
much
not
as
good.
Yeah.
I've been there. Oh,
Yeah.
trust me, I've talked a lot of shit on her. And I just got to a point where it was just like, this isn't good for me.
Not good
to
for
be
the kid,
hateful.
not good for me.
Right.
Never did it in front of my daughter. I refuse to talk badly about her mom to her because I just think that's super unfair. If down the road they have a bad relationship, that's on them. I'm not going to be a part of that. I'm not going to feed into that because that's, to me, it's just not fair to my daughter. It's not fair to her, my ex-wife. I've even forgiven my friend that this all happened. You know, I was mad at him. I was mad. I wanted to fight him so
How were you
bad.
able to do that?
I was able to do that.
Was it because you got happy again and you?
I'm sure happiness definitely plays a part of that, but it was like,
Did he ever like come to you and be like, hey, I'm sorry. I don't know what I was
he
thinking.
apologized later on, much later. And I'm talking like within the last year, we actually had a conversation and he got to fully apologize. And it's like, dude, I'm thankful. As
I
weird
am
as it
doing
is,
great now.
I'm thankful.
Hey,
he
right?
really pushed me over the edge to where I needed to be uncomfortable. I needed to find something new that was going to fulfill my
You
life.
need to get pissed off. Man.
I needed to be angry. I needed to scream. I needed to break stuff. I needed to self-destruct in a way.
Well, that's why like these negative emotions like anger, jealousy, they're actually good. Like there's
They
no
are.
bad parts. They want to help you in unhealthy ways sometimes, but sometimes anger is like the best fuel to the fire that you need. Like,
Absolutely.
all right, like let's go then.
I
Bring
think
it on.
trauma sucks, but it does help in so many ways.
If you handle it,
Well, you're right. You're right.
If you handle it the right way,
yeah,
you'll find the gifts of trauma.
It
for
can
sure.
it can destroy you, but it can also build you into something that's insanely beautiful. You
Yeah,
know,
it's both.
like I've called them rebirths. To me, that's trauma.
Yeah.
It's a rebirth in your life. It's a chance to try something different. It's a chance to move in a different direction. And you're never going to be the person you were before because that trauma really does change you so much. And it's going to either be a good change or it's going to be a bad change. And it's probably going to be a lot of both along the way. But you want to try and push forward, man. It's like you say, running into the storm. You got to run into the storm. You got to face it eventually.
It's going to catch up.
Yeah, and it's going to suck. It is going to be awful. But the faster you face it, the quicker you get over it. And you're never really getting over it, but you learn to cope with it.
Well, and we just talked about finding the gifts within it. I think if you run from it, what I'm learning is if you run from it, you're only outrunning the good parts of it.
Yeah.
You're just going to experience the shitty parts of it.
You're right.
And that's like what the victim mentality gives you. Sam, you want to throw out any more? I have a cool quote that kind of reminds me of Preston's story that I can tie back.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
You have, am I good? Okay.
Yeah.
So I read a lot of Stoic stuff kind of each morning when I wake up. And I read this morning. It kind of reminded me of you, Preston. So this is from Seneca. This is our big mistake, to think we look forward to death. Most of death is already gone. Whatever time has passed is owned by death. I love this quote because I think most people, they view death as this event that will happen to them down the road, usually when you're older. And Seneca reminds us, like, no, like, the beginning of this podcast even is dead. It is done. It happened. Like, that moment in time is gone forever. And that's how death is in your life, ticking away every second. And I think people forget that. Like, this might be all you get. You got to go for it. Like, you got to go. And it just reminded me of you, Preston. Like, you have this good job. Not just a good job. You have security. Your dad owns it. He's ready to hand it over to you. And you're like, no, I'm going for the tattoo thing. I think that's totally what Seneca is trying to get with that quote is like, listen, each moment that ticks by is dead. What are you doing with your life? Like, death is right on your heels, man.
Yeah.
And I think that's a mindset that more people need to have is, and I think what keeps people from, and it's not just whatever it is, like starting me and you starting a podcast, you getting in tattooing, Ryan doing music, whatever it is. I think what keeps people from like actually literally going for it, like Preston did, like I'm quitting this job, I'm going for it, is they're scared to fail. Like they're scared to do it. And you can't let that fear scare you that much because death is eating it up. And if you let fear run your life, I think it's just a cow mentality. I do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think Preston, like, if you would have gone the tattoo route and it failed, I think your story would still be cool. Like maybe even cooler. Like you failed, and then like let's say you started the tattoo thing and then you failed. Okay. Like you're gonna pick the pieces up. You can go back to your dad and get a job, maybe, or you get a totally different job. Or at least you went for it. At least you tried it. At least you know. At least you go to bed at night knowing like I went for it. Didn't work out, but I found out who I am and I learned some things instead of laying in bed like, man, I should do that maybe. And you never do it.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So I love that quote from Seneca. I think it's so true.
You should send that to me. That's right.
Yeah, I'll send
I like
it to you.
that.
Yeah, I want to start ripping off some of these quotes. Like, I was laying in bed last night and I came up with a new quote. And then just not giving the credit. Like, Seneca's gone. He doesn't need the credit.
Seneca's gone.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We're all just copying each other anyway. Like the 1090 quote, we didn't come up with that.
Yeah. It's true though.
Um,
Everything's been done. It's kind of hard to be super original nowadays. And we see it. That's the other side of it. It's internet has given us access to the world, so it's like it's hard to be original.
Yeah, I think I do want to talk about tattoos a little bit more real quick. For me, and Preston, I just want to get your thoughts on this. Because I deal with a lot of survivor's guilt. Like there's a part of me that feels like a terrible dad, hates myself for not being in the car. I picture my wife and kids and brother and nephew just being terrified in their last moments, and I wasn't there. Yeah. So I deal with all that, and there's a part of me that hates myself, and I do think tattoos is a form of maybe socially acceptable self-harm in a way.
Yep. I 100% believe that.
You believe that? Do you think you have a lot of clients like that, or just you personally when you're getting tattooed? Because like, let me give you an example. When you did the Iron Man tattoo, because Ryder drew a picture of Iron Man, gave it to Riggins, and he did the note, and I had you keep the handwriting of Ryder, the whole thing. Like that was like a 7.5 hour tattoo, I think. And as you're tattooing my leg, I'm just thinking about Riggins and Ryder, and it was just like a therapeutic thing.
No, you're 100%
is that weird,
right.
Or is
no,
there
I don't. I think you're 100% right on that. I think people, maybe not everybody, but I think people that maybe be going through something, and I'm going to use this as my own. When I first started getting tattooed, I was depressed. I was in a weird place in my life. You know, you get out of high school, you don't know what you're doing with yourself. You don't know where you want to go. And it was fun to go get hurt. As weird as that is, it was just fun. The whole experience of it was fun.
And the pain, it kind of like, it's like, oh, like I'm alive. Like, it kind of brought out these emotions of life. Like, wow, there's still something in there that hurt. Like, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it kind of gives you some life.
I think it does too. And I think in a lot of ways, it's meditation too. You have to breathe through the pain, and that's in life.
Yeah.
You have to breathe through the pain, and tattooing is the same way. And I've just read something about this being compared to self-harm. People that are cutters, they're the way the endorphins are releasing or whatever it is, I'm maybe slaughtering that, but it's the same as getting a tattoo. You're releasing like the same amount of endorphins, and it's giving you that almost high feeling, and you want more of it. You just get addicted to it. And that is tattooing. And I think it's the same reason people are cutters.
No, and I think
just accepted.
Breathing. Yeah. And breathing through it is a legit thing in the tattoo world, like practicing that breath. And then, what was I going to say? I lost it, dude.
Oh, no.
Be good.
Well, Seneca said.
Shut up, Sam. No, I was going to say,
meditation, breathing.
Oh man. So like meditation, breathing. I feel so much better after a tattoo.
Feel relaxed.
Yeah, I feel like almost like a purge. Like,
oh yeah.
it's a very similar feeling to like after a therapy, like the talking about it. It's similar to that almost. Like it's just the weight is lifted. It comes back, and I want another tattoo later.
Yeah.
but like, no, there's something to that for sure. And putting yourself through the pain. I don't know. I just love everything about tattoos, dude.
No,
I love the pain. I love the meaning. I love the artist side. I just love all of it. Should we end with the top 3? Is there anything else we want to talk about before we wrap this up? Preston, if you any other advice you have, someone going through a divorce, they have a kid, or they have a dream that they're kind of scared of.
Oh God, you got dreams, pursue them. You never know what's going to happen. You don't know, and that's the beautiful part of it is that it's either going to work or it's not. And if it works, you are now on this new path to something amazing. If it doesn't work, we can call it a failure, and that's okay. You learned something, and now you can adjust to something completely different. But don't not try. That's
Preston, wouldn't you rather be a failed tattoo artist who found something else to do with his life, or you took over your dad's shop and you just kind of have that in the back of your mind and you're still doing Bob Ross paintings in your spare time and you just never really went? Wouldn't that just eat at you a little bit?
It would.
Yeah, you got to do it, man.
Yeah, I feel bad for people that are always afraid. I got a friend that's amazing at he's a mechanic. He could open his own place and work for himself, and he won't do it because he's secure where he's at. He's comfortable, and to me his boss sucks. His boss doesn't give him time off. It's ridiculous. And I'm like, dude, if you went and did this on your own, you could have a freedom of making your own schedule and getting to go out of town when you want to without even feeling guilty about it.
I do think there's something. I think there's some correlation of getting your heart broke or just you lose something, and there's just part like, I'm just gonna go for it now. Like screw it. Like I've been hurt enough. Like whatever. Dude, you're right. I'm going for it. I do think there's something. People who've really been hurt like that, I do think back to like trauma as a gift in some ways. I think that's one of the gifts. It's like, all right, I'm going for it.
I do agree with that. You kind of already feel like you have
lost
nothing to lose.
All anyway.
You have nothing to lose. Just do it.
All right.
Just go for it. What's the worst that's going to happen? You've already been through enough. What worse could be than what you've already dealt with? So I do agree with that.
Yeah, don't be scared of failure. It's funny because my parents, they started it's just like a small scholarship at West Jordan High School because Courtney and Race both went to West Jordan High School. And so they started like a 1090 scholarship. So once a year they give away $1,090.
Oh, that's cool.
To write a little play off the 1090.
Yeah.
So my parents get this money for one boy student, one female student. Anyway, I had to present. My mom was, I went over to my mom's yesterday and she was giving me a hard time. So I went to present these scholarships to these kids and she's like, Mason, so I heard you gave the scholarships away and you told everyone there that education's overrated and they shouldn't go to college. And I'm like, what? I'm like, no. I'm like, well, kinda. And so I said something like, hey, I was talking to these high school kids. I was handing them these scholarships. I'm like, hey, if someone gave me $1,090 at your age for school, I would take chances with it and I would fail with it as much as I could. That's how you're going to learn, is through this failure. Don't be scared to try things and fail. And then I said, even if you do graduate college, it's not what it used to be. Good luck getting a job anyway. It was kind of, so that's where that, but anyway, like the whole point of what I was getting at is like, go fail, man. Go fail a lot. You need to.
It's going to mold you.
It will.
You're going to meet new people along the way too. And you're going to find people that are going to set you on a path that goes where you want it to go or it doesn't. And then you're going to try a different path.
Like try to win, do everything you can to win and be successful. And if you don't look for excuses, look yourself in the mirror. I'm like, I'll do better. And that's like the best part of life is how you handle those shitty moments. Let's get into movies to end this thing.
Let's do it.
Sam, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I'll kick off the movie though.
All right, what do you got? So hold on, Preston, this is how we do it. Sam and I, we've listed a plethora of movies. So like we're listing our 40th, 41st, 42nd.
It's almost getting hard to think
Yeah.
of movies.
So we're picking whatever. You, however, it's your top 3. Like Desert Island, you only get 3 movies. You're gonna go last. We'll give you a second to think.
Okay.
Sam, start us. How many movies do you want to do?
I'll throw out 2.
Okay.
So Fast X. We're gonna go back to the Fast and Furious franchise. Number 10
I
just
haven't
came out.
seen that one yet.
Oh my gosh! You say
How
when,
bad
I'll
is
meet
it?
you there.
How bad
I'll
is it?
see
What's
it.
the most like?
I saw it back-to-back nights.
Okay, how
Great.
What's the most bizarre, unbelievable scene in that movie?
In that movie?
Hold on. I don't know which movie it is, but Vin Diesel headbutts someone across the room.
Yeah. See,
How
that's
does
the most.
that- How does that happen?
That's the most believable thing you'll see in those movies. In this movie, he lifts a car over one-handed. He's sitting behind. He turns it back over, uses it as a shield. I love it.
A shield.
It's like
Oh,
he's getting shot at. And he's just like, oh, instead of just, oh, it's just great. Dave, you say when? I'll meet you at the Megaplex. We'll see Fast
What
X.
movie did you see last night? I was texting you last night. You said you
Called
were
The Final Wish.
Never even heard of it.
It's a good one.
I'm behind the movies. No one invites me to movies anymore, Dave.
You don't want to see it. If you go back,
I didn't
let's
get an
see.
invite to
Ryan-
Guardians. I still haven't seen the Michael Jordan shoe. I haven't seen a
Okay,
movie.
so if you go back and listen to this episode or any episode and you hear my movie takes and his reactions, I think anyone would be like, why would he invite him to that movie? Why would he invite Mason to that movie? Any movie he says Mason hates, well, of course he's not going to invite him to that movie. I'll invite you to the movie. You say when, we'll Fast X this week.
Okay, keep going.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
so good. Fast. And also, I'll go The Final Wish, which actually might be an idea for a movie down there, episode down the road. It's like your typical time travel, like not necessarily time travel, but it's like you get a wish, this happens, and then things start to change. And then it's like, well, because you altered that, now this. So it goes back to like, would you really go back and change the past if it changed X, Y, Z? So it's like one of those movies, but like horror theme based.
Yeah.
So, I mean, typical horror film, which means it's like a 7 out of 10. I love all movies.
You do, and I know. Like I'm a tough critic, and you like Preston. We saw the water horse.
Crucial. Yeah.
Crucial came to greet you, not to eat you. We saw this water. You probably never even heard of the
Nope,
water
never heard of
because it's awful. And we saw it in high school, and he loved it. 10 out of 10. Anyway, I'm gonna go with, dude. I've been on an Adam Sandler kick. I'm gonna go with Happy Gilmore.
Great film.
I already got in a Wedding Singer reference earlier with Preston. I love The Wedding Singer. And then Billy Madison's been said on our show before. You know what? I'm going to go. Oh, you know what? Okay, I'm going to sidestep away from Adam Sandler, actually. I watched Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby, not too long ago.
Ricky Booby.
Oh, my. Is that might be. Is that Will Ferrell's best movie? That movie's underrated, dude. I mean, you have Anchorman. What are Will Ferrell's best movies? You have Anchorman.
Old School was good.
Old School is great, dude.
I mean, even like his
Step Brothers.
Daddy's Home.
The other guys.
But dude,
Other
the other
guy,
guys,
yeah.
dude, I kid you, Talladega Nights is so good. If you're not
That's
first,
funny,
you're
man.
last. That's not true. You could be lots of things, Ricky. You could be first, you could be second. You guys probably drunk when I said, dude, that movie has so many good one-liners, dude. I'm gonna go with Talladega Nights.
I like
That's a
that. I
good
can
one.
get behind that.
Yeah. I never know what to do with my hands. What do I do with my hands? He keeps on his hands. All right, Preston, take us home.
My all-time favorite's going to be Dumb and Dumber. There will be no comedy in my world that will ever top that.
Husband? What was all that 1 in a million talk?
You know, oddly enough, Wes Jordan, the little kid in the scene where they pick up the hitchhikers,
Yeah, pick them up.
he went to high school with us.
No way.
Yep, he sure did.
When they're mock.
Yeah, oh yeah.
See.
He went to high school at
Yep.
West Jordan.
Yep. He was I think he would have been a sophomore when I was a senior. I
How did he
believe.
land the role?
They
No
just picked
idea.
him up. He was hitchhiking.
Yeah, right. Pick him up.
Oh, that movie. Okay, kill him. How come I didn't get a gun? Did you get a gun?
You're a horrible shot.
Harry, you're alive. And you're a horrible shot.
Just give me the
good,
number.
See, man, that movie
Yeah.
is comical. I will say,
I got worms.
I got.
That's what we're gonna call it.
That's good, Bill.
So,
Samsonite. All right, we're done.
dude, no,
Sorry.
I got one more.
Okay,
Harry
yeah.
really took laxatives for that scene of him pooping in the toilet.
No, really.
He wanted it to be authentic, and he wanted him
He
to
had
be
both legs.
dude. He wanted it to be so realistic that he held it as long as he possibly could, so that his emotions were very real when he ran into that bathroom trying to find the toilet.
I didn't know that.
Real,
I'm just shaving.
real. I'm just cleaning my
He
teeth.
throws the part of the toilet behind his shoulder.
Dude,
Like,
in a deleted scene, he rips the toilet off and dumps it out the window. Dude, I'm like, why didn't you guys leave that? That was hilarious. But yeah, that movie is so good.
She said, "You love me." I said, "No, but that's a real nice ski mask."
It's good.
Oh man,
It's too good, dude.
it's the best, man. I still laugh to tears when I watch that movie.
oh, yeah.
It's timeless, man. That movie.
And it's a movie you can hop in 20 minutes in, an
Yep.
hour in,
Oh, yeah.
10 minutes left. Like, you're
Yep.
good.
Is that
Just hop
this-
in.
I know it's the Jim Carrey movie. Is it that movie where he sticks his head out the window and then he's like trying,
Yeah.
like it's like rolled up and
Yeah, because he's trying to talk to that chick. Let's put another shrimp on the bottom. Let's not. Then he climbs in. What if he picked her up? What if she got in the car? He's driving the limo. What if she got in the limo?
I never thought about
It
that.
wouldn't have
dude.
worked.
that's great. I love it. I love it.
Oh my god.
All right, you got two more.
Okay. Terminator 2.
Oh, took a
That's a
left
good
turn.
take.
I
Yeah,
like
I
it.
dude.
love Terminator 2. I'm
feel
gonna
like-
say that's where my first trauma began. When Sarah Connor has to destroy the Terminator and he's going into the molten steel and he gives that thumbs up as he's going in. Bawling, man. I was crying so hard the first time I watched that movie, and I was just like, why would the hero die like that? He didn't need to die. It's like I couldn't wrap my mind around it as a kid that he had to die. He could not, he had to sacrifice that because nothing could remain, or he would come back and take over the world.
Those Terminators are good.
Yeah.
We grew up on those.
Dude, Terminator was
And I feel like
the
with
best.
AI, that's kind of probably how it ends up. Probably.
Oh yeah, we're on our way.
We're on our way there.
Arnold's coming back for us.
All right, one more.
I'm gonna go down the horror route of Halloween.
Oh, I love
Always
Halloween.
loved Michael Myers.
You've done some cool Michael Myers tattoos.
Yeah. I whenever one comes my way, I am all in.
Yeah,
I
you got some
love
good
Michael
stuff.
Myers. I don't know what it is. I feel like he was just scary
Yeah.
because he was silent. He was the shadow moving across the room. And they didn't even have to put blood in the first film. There was no blood,
Really?
which is not for horror movies nowadays. It's very
that's like
bloody. And they did that on purpose because they let your imagination kind of wander and envisioning what was going on instead of actually seeing it. So
Wow.
it was, good
I
movie.
love Halloween. That was a good call.
Yeah,
we're
you're
only we're T-minus like 3 months from starting to see Halloween stuff in the
Yep.
stores again.
Yep.
I'm pumped.
Yeah, you're a horror movie guy.
I'm done with summer.
Yep.
Well, this podcast really died. All right. Life's 10% what happens to
That
you,
was good.
90% what you're going to do about it.